wanna be an airborne ninja.
Vegan, oil-free pizza dough. Welcome back everyone to the Vegan Ranger. Today we're going to put together a vegan, oil-free pizza dough. So let me show you what we've got here. I've got 1 3/4 cup of white whole wheat flour. Then I have an additional 1/4 cup for later. And then I have 1 1/2 teaspoons of fast rising active dry yeast. I'm using Fleischmann's pizza dough. It works really well. Also in here I have 3/4 teaspoon of sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Also, I'm going to be using a cup of warm water, about 120, 130 degrees. Okay, let's get this mixed up. I've got 1 3/4 of the white whole wheat flour. Let's get this in the bowl. And then I'm going to make a small cavity in it. And then I'm going to put in my 1 1/2 teaspoons of yeast, my 3/4 teaspoon of sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt into the cavity. And then I've got 1 cup of warm water. It's about 120, 130 degrees. We're going to go ahead and put that right in the cavity on top of everything and then get it mixed up. And we're just going to stir it up here, and once we get it mixed fairly well, I'll jump in here with my hands and we'll start working it a little bit with my hands. And as you can probably tell, it looks kind of wet, and that's where the other 1/4 cup of flour comes in. As you can see, that's pretty wet. So let me go ahead and get this off of here. And we'll go ahead and start adding some of the additional flour. And I'll just keep mixing it by hand until we get a nice, smooth, elastic consistency. And I'm going to go ahead and I have some wax paper on my table here. Let me put a little flour down, and I'm just going to take it out of the bowl and continue to finish the processing of this on the tabletop. It's a little bit easier than in the bowl. Oop. Still got a little too much moisture in it. A little more flour. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now I got it into a ball, put it back in my bowl. I'm going to go ahead and cover it up, and we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes and it'll rise. And then we can get it cut up and prepare our dough for our pizzas. Okay, the dough sat for about 10 minutes and we're ready to get it kneaded down and rolled out into our pizzas. So we'll go ahead and get it out. We'll go ahead and cut it in half and start working the dough into our pizza. You can use your hand, you can use a roller, you can flip it up in the air if you so desire. I don't have that kind of skill set to be able to flip it around like that, so I just try to keep it simple. I put some cornstarch on my peel, got my dough on it, and you can see it slides around. That's what that cornstarch will do, give you that. Take a fork, and you want to go ahead and just punch a couple of air holes in this, or else you'll end up with pita. All right. We're ready to put it in the oven. I've got my pizza stone. Been in here for about 30-35 minutes. Get it up to temperature, and that'll help our dough get a nice, good crust on it. So we'll crank that in there. set our timer for 8 minutes and then it'll be ready. So now, dough's ready to go. Just add your sauce, toppings, put it back in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, however long, depending on what toppings you got, and you're good to go with your vegan pizza. Now, please go ahead, subscribe to the channel, because I'll be referring back to this dough recipe, because I will be doing a couple of different versions of pizza, some really good variations, so you'll want to be able to go back and check and make sure you're doing it right on the dough. So that's all we got today. Y'all have a great week.